Hey guys, TGCast Productions. For this GT Line video, I have a buying customization and review for you guys for the Pfister Comet S2. This is a drip feed vehicle from the Los Santos Tuners DLC. So we're in an auto shop here. We're going to go over to the computer, purchase this vehicle, be purchased from Legendary Motorsports. And unfortunately, I didn't have the trade price for this vehicle. The trade prices for the DLC vehicles are every 5 reputation levels in the LS car meet, and it's randomized. So unfortunately, I didn't get the trade price for this. We'll go ahead and look at the screenshots. We have this vehicle here and read the caption that Rockstar always gives us. This isn't just a fast car, it's a car with the kind of reputation that no amount of targeted advertising can buy. So when some people see a comet, they make a wish, others run screaming for cover, prophesizing doom, destruction, and crippling medical expenses. Either way, you made an impression. All right, so there's Rockstar's funny caption. And I forgot to select the color here. It's a pretty common error on players' parts to get confused that you can't end up purchasing the vehicle. But yeah, that's all I had to do. And then you can see I don't have the trade price. So almost had to spend another $500,000, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and purchase this vehicle. So here's the Pfister Comet S2. And this vehicle is based off the Porsche 992. And I plan on making a separate video showcasing and even talk a little bit more about this real life version of this vehicle. But we're going to go ahead and take this vehicle outside because you can't look at any vehicle options or open up any, the vehicle doors, hood, trunk option inside the property. So let's go ahead and take it out, get a closer look at this vehicle. So I took the Porsche Comet S2 to a parking lot near my auto shop just because can't really, open up any of the vehicle like remote options inside the auto shop here. So here we go. We have the trunk in the front, got the doors there, and the engine's a pretty interesting open, or the way that it opens. You obviously can't really showcase the engine at all, but it does have an interesting open to it, I believe also with the Pfister logo on it. So that is pretty cool. I'd say that's pretty unique. I don't think a lot of cars, if any, have like an open like that, where it just opens. We can only see like just part of the engine. We got the interior of the car there. So that's pretty cool. We'll go ahead and step inside the car. Let's listen to the engine start up too. So get a nice sort of stealth roar as the vehicle turns on. And the interior, I like the interior, pretty luxurious, pretty sport-like. What really stood out to me are the seats. Those seats seem somewhat unique, or a little more unique in GT Online. I'm not 100% sure on that, but at least stand out a little more from the seats that you typically see. And if you actually zoom in on the dials, what's really cool is to the right there. It looks like it actually, if you zoom in, it says sport mode, and then also there, I believe it shows like the tire pressure in the car, so that's pretty cool. I'd still have to get the other. There's like 8 more of the vehicles that release on day one, the DLC. So I'm not sure if any of those vehicles show that, but that's pretty cool. I'd say it's pretty unique. And also you have, I really like the tail light on the vehicle as you end up seeing. It has a nice wraparound, and I also like the headlights are very Porsche-like. You also have the spoiler that pops up. There's a handful of vehicles that have that in GT Online, such as like the T20 as one of them. The Krieger might even have it, the Benefactor Krieger, a few other vehicles. There's nothing really unique about the headlights as far as like when you turn them on and like the high beams. There's not really anything like really cool about that. Like some vehicles have a pretty cool, unique turn on. But other than that, let's go ahead and take this into. I am going to take it to the LS car meet just to earn reputation points for customizing in there. So let's go ahead and do that. Check out the customization. And since I didn't mention it before, this is in the sports car class. Obviously, also it's in its own sort of tuners class, like for the new races that we're adding GT Online, the Street Race series, the Pursuit series. That has almost like its own tuners class, and this would obviously be in that. And what I'll do for the customization is I'll just, as I'm going through it, I'll briefly tune in here and there just to like point out some things that I thought was interesting, maybe cool about the customization that stood out to me. But that's really all I'll say there. So like I said, I'll tune in here and there with the customization just to say a few things. But I'll pretty much leave it at that. And right here is pretty crazy with some of these like bumper deletes. You almost like have the entire back of the car, like almost like the frame of the car is showing, or the chassis, which is pretty crazy. So that's definitely something that stood out to me. It's not something I really wanted to have on my customization, but yeah, definitely something pretty interesting right there. Right here we have some fog lights you can add to the vehicle. Almost remind me of something you see in the Comet Safari. Definitely don't think it fits this vehicle. That's my personal opinion. One thing I might have to try is see if those actually turn on. I may have to try that and then put a note in the video there to see if they do. But yeah, I don't think it quite fits this vehicle. Again, that's just my personal opinion though. For a lot of these interior options here, I noticed personally right now I only own the Jester RR and the Euros, but as far as like what I saw with those vehicles with the interior options and seeing what I'm getting with the Pfister Comet S2, they seem pretty similar as far as like options you're getting in the interior. Nothing like really stood out to me as far as being very different. Again, I don't have the other 8 DLC vehicles from release, so I have to see what those interiors are like, but yeah. With these headlight options here, you can actually purchase these different color lights from your arena workshop if you own one. They aren't actually they are locked by arena war points in the workshop, but you can purchase them for a higher price, whereas these are locked by LS Car Meet reputation points. You cannot purchase those lights, even if you wanted to pay extra like you can with the Arena War Workshop points. So just something to keep in mind there. And for everyone who may be curious about the Ron racing livery that players are supposed to get for this vehicle, as long as you became a member, and I believe that, I'm not sure if that's still active or not, that may have just been for this past event week when the DLC first released. It may still be active as of now, but I know that players are supposed to receive that livery for this vehicle by or 72 hours after logging in on August 2nd, so essentially August 5th. We may not actually get it August 5th. We've seen Rockstar in the past numerous times say we're supposed to get something by a certain date, and they end up being later than when they promised. So don't be surprised if that comes at a later date, but that's essentially just some clarity on the Ron Racing livery that players are supposed to receive for the Pfister Comet S2. What's cool here is we have these license plate holders, which essentially allows you to put the license plate in different areas of the front of your vehicle. Now, this is definitely, I'd say, a newer option. Again, I apologize since I don't own all 10 vehicles from day one. I don't know if that's an option on any of those vehicles, but nonetheless, I would say that this is definitely at least a newer option, if not unique to this vehicle, because of the mere fact that from my experience, I don't really notice that from any of the other really vehicles in GT Online. As far as the respray options we have here, the primary color covers pretty much the majority of the vehicle, as we can see there. Secondary color covers the brakes as well as the lining, as you'll see around like the dash and the seats inside the interior of the vehicle. As you can see there, you can see the color changing on the lining there. And then when we get to the trim color pretty much covers pretty much the majority of the interior of the vehicle, like the seats, the dash, the even some of the back part of the interior of the vehicle, as you can see right there. So yeah, pretty much covers, I would say, about 85 to 90% of the interior of the vehicle. And then as you'll see with the accent color coming up, that covers just sort of the coloring around the dials of the vehicle here. And, for the most part, I want to say that's a option with some of the Benny's vehicles in GT Online. So I don't really know how unique that is as far as to the tuners vehicles, but yeah, I definitely think some of my Benny vehicles have an accent color. We have some roof options here that kind of remind me of something you see on the Comet Safari. Not really sure it goes to this vehicle that much though. We also have a carbon roof you can add. I just mentioned this. Obviously, carbon roofs are pretty common on GT Line vehicles, but I thought it was cool on this one because this is the first Carrera Porsche that can actually have a carbon fiber roof as far as the real life version of the vehicle, since this is a Carrera Porsche, the Porsche 992. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think I did end up going with a carbon fiber roof on my final product, which I'll go over here after this. But yeah, just something I figured I just mentioned really quickly. We have the spoilers here also. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind with the spoilers is some of these spoiler options, especially when you get to like the wing options, like the much larger spoilers, you will end up losing the ability for it to contract up and down. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want to go with some of those like larger wing spoilers as you're seeing here. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing your spoiler option. We also have the option to apply these low grip tires to all these new like tuner vehicles out of this DLC, and that can be done in the mod shop inside of the Ellis car meet. And according to Bruffy1322, you can make this vehicle go extremely quickly, but when you're applying low grip tires to any of these new vehicles, you're gonna end up losing control in a race. So yeah, it'll make it fast on a straightaway, but turns applied, it's not gonna end well. And right here we have, I want to say, I went through the tuner wheels here, but I believe the wheels and the street wheels and the race wheels are the only new class of wheels that were added with this GT Online DLC. I think tuner wheels were there before, but the wheels that were applied to the stock version of this vehicle aren't unique. They are actually one of the class of the newer wheel vehicles, and I will put that up on the screen here of which class and what wheels they were. But the stock wheels that are applied to this vehicle, they aren't unique to the vehicle. And that is a customization for the Pfister Comet S2 in full. So here is my final product of the Pfister Comet S2. For the primary color, I went with a metallic black. For the pearlescent, I also went with the black. Secondary color, I went with metallic red. Trim color, I went with black. Accent color, ice white. And then there was no livery applied to this vehicle. And some other modifications just worth mentioning. I did add a turbo exhaust. I added a carbon roof, performance skirts, and then for the wheel type, I added a sport wheel type, and that was the Mercy wheel type. And then again, that was in the sport category for wheels. I also made the wheel color black, and that's really all I did to or added as far as customization is concerned to my Pfister Comet S2. And as I've done with past buying customization review videos, I also include all my customization options in the description of this video. So last off this video, I just want to give a final review of the Pfister Comet S2, the fully customized one. First off here, you can see with speed, it picks up very quickly. It's a pretty fast tuner vehicle, may even be one of the fastest as of now. In fact, I will link at the end of this video Bruffy1322's video of its top speed and lap time. I believe for top speed, he ranked it fairly high as of now. We still have 7 more Drifty vehicles to get released, so that might change. But I would definitely check out his videos on that. He did some great testing there. But yeah, top speed or speed in this vehicle, acceleration, which I believe is all maxed out, seems pretty good. The downside thing this vehicle comes with its turning. Now, originally with the turning, I thought the turning was pretty loose. The power steering was pretty loose in the beginning here. As I drove it a little bit more, I think I was having a little bit more of an issue with turning. As far as turning at quick speeds, I had to ease into my turns a lot more than I thought I did, especially with like the loop turns or like curvy turns that aren't 90 degrees. Though when I was doing a time trial, I had a little bit of trouble with those. There's even some 90-degree turns I just found myself sliding as I was going into the turn and just hitting into the wall. And this was all inside the test track here. I also even decided to take it outside the test track and drive it on the same road with the Jester RR. And in my personal opinion, and I believe the Jester RR is the fastest tuner vehicle as of now, or at least it's ranked fairly high. I are much more comfortable turning with that vehicle than the Pfister Comet S2. The Pfister Comet S2 is a very quick vehicle, but I'm not as comfortable as the turning with it as I am with the Jester RR, which I could see being a downside for maybe some like the street race series races where you have to make quick turns and take some of the shortcuts. That may pose a problem there. The Pursuit series, you might have more straightaways. It might not be as bad on that type of race. But I just took it around the block here, and you could just tell that the turning seems much more. It almost seems much more agile with the Jester RR. It's much more controllable than the Pfister Comet S2. You even seem to slide around sometimes with turns if you're not careful. So, all in all, I think that I don't think the Pfister Comet S2's handling is horrible, but I think maybe it could be a little bit better, especially with the turning, as far as that's concerned. All in all, it definitely seems like a pretty fast vehicle nonetheless. And as I said, I would definitely recommend checking out Bruffy 1322's videos as far as his lap time this vehicle and the top speed because they can be pretty helpful. But from my experience, handling is not horrible. It's, the turning is not absolutely horrible. I even sort of like the drifting with this vehicle a bit, but I just think as far as some of the other tuner vehicles like the Jester RR, the comfortability of turning in that vehicle is definitely better than the comfortability of turning with this vehicle, which is also interesting because the traction in this vehicle is higher. I thought maybe this vehicle might be a little bit better with the turning or handling the turning, not sliding out as much. But yeah. No, so when I say the traction was higher, I was just comparing it to the Jester RR. That's what I mean. The traction was higher. It was higher than the Jester RR's traction. So that's what I was comparing it to there. But in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it extremely beneficial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it. As always, have a great day.